What's going on, everybody? It's Darkstrider, and I kind of feel like developers are developing the entirely wrong way. And if you are a video game developer who worked on any of the games that have come out recently in the past year, 2 years, I'm not sorry for what I'm about to say. A lot of us remember when games were good. And when games were good, it wasn't because they were misogynistic or they were, like overbearingly just geared towards white males or anything like that. Games were good when you could just sit down, play a game, and you got lost and immersed in the game. I kind of feel like the way game development used to be, it would be like, hey, let's create a game. Let's make it, in space as the background. This will be the story. These will be the characters and whatnot. And then, the game kind of took off from there. Nobody cared whether the character was male, female. I've often said that, I don't care if you're playing as a gay, black, wheelchair-bound, Jewish, lesbian who, is the main character of the game, as long as the game is good, as long as the game has meaning. The story has to be solid. I don't have to be reminded every 5 minutes that this person is what they are and whatnot. And I think that that's a problem with game development now. I kind of feel like if we look at Concord, for example, which, by the way, recently it came out that it was a $400 million just mess. $400 million. If I lose a company $40, you get fired. I don't understand it. So now they're worried that they're going to be laid off and whatnot. And, my heart does go out to them because that does suck. Nobody deserves to be fired. Everyone needs to work. But, that's $400 million. You could have made a sequel to Bloodborne, a remaster, which everybody's been begging for. You could have made Days Gone 2. Days Gone is a completely underrated game. These are topics for like another time. But the main point here is that I feel like now you're just like, you know what? I'm going to make a game and it's going to have a bunch of characters that, the modern audience. Who was the modern audience in Concord? Concord had a max play of 83, 84 people at one time playing the game. Now, to be fair, I don't think that they were all, like LGBTQ or anything like that. I do feel that there were, some PlayStation fans that really wanted it to work, that wanted, anything that PlayStation does to be a success. And I do feel that they also included a people that were just curious about this game, about what the future or the alleged future of gaming would be and what people thought it would be. So I think that, that's what it was. Now, $40, it's not every day that you get refunded that money. The last time I heard of a mass refund like that was CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk, which I never returned, I kept. Because I figured, it's going to get better. And it did. But, for different reasons than Concord, was refunded and everything like that. I kind of feel like with Concord, and I'm using that heavily as an example because that's a recent game. I feel like they took the game, they said, hey, let's make a game that has a bunch of fat, black, lesbian, whatever, in space, and, they're doing this, that, and the third. Let's make, some of these people bisexual and everything like that. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. This is the one thing I want everybody to understand. Inclusion is good. Inclusion has its place. Have you ever seen videos where it's a bunch of kids and they're at Disney World and, you know, they can't speak, they're nonverbal, or, you know, they're mute, they're deaf, and the Disney character will speak to them in sign language? I mean, that pulls at your heartstrings, and if you are not affected by that, you need to go get checked out, buddy, because that is beautiful when you see those kind of things. You know, you have, you know, like these characters. I saw one recently where this little girl, she was deaf and mute, and characters from Toy Story, Woody and Bo Peep, were sign language. They were speaking in sign language to this child, and I thought that was adorable. I thought that was sweet. You know, that girl felt included. She felt seen. She felt important. She felt like, wow, these characters, they, you know, can speak to me. They love me, blah, 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 on and on. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There is something wrong where you're force-feeding stuff down people's throats, where you're constantly, like, you have to make a point of doing this stuff. And, you know, like Sweet Baby Inc., a lot of them, a lot of the people that work there, we have record where they're like, no, I want you to purposely be upset. I want you. Why would you do that? Why do you purposely want people who are giving you money to be upset? It makes no sense. You know, if we turn it into a right versus left issue, there's always grifters on both sides. Sweet Baby Inc. is a grifter on the left because they don't care about the gaming community. They don't. They just want to get paid. That's it. And it just makes no sense. And, you know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's woke. Oh, it's DEI. Again, people throw out woke because, to me, when you say woke, it means that I just don't like this, so this is the only thing I could say about it. It's woke. If you see DEI, people say that, oh, this is DEI. To me, when I hear that, it's like, oh, you know, even though they hired a bunch of, you know, like they have a multicultural group and whatnot, you know, they did it purposely. They didn't give the job to somebody who was qualified. They gave the job just because this person was of color or female or LGBTQ. That's not the way that works. You can't, yes, you do get credits for hiring people who are minorities or, you know, LGBTQ and stuff like that. But overall, you don't want to just hire somebody off the street unless they know what they're doing. You know, hiring somebody off the street just does not work unless it's like a simple job. If it's a janitorial job and everything like that, and you just hired somebody off the street, fine, they could do it. If it's like a cashier job, you know, you could hire somebody off the street. Look at like Walmart, look at Amazon. They don't discriminate, they just hire, you know, and they'll hire white people too. They'll hire anybody, you know. It's just weird that people come out and say it. It's the same thing when I hear, oh, you're a Nazi. When somebody says you're a Nazi, to me, I think that person cannot form a coherent argument to challenge you. So they just say, oh, you're a Nazi. You don't agree with me, you're a Nazi. You know, it's stupid. So we don't have to be careful with like what we say, but let's be mindful of what we're saying when we use these words, when we throw these terms around, because it's kind of silly. You know, it's very silly, in fact. But, you know, I think that these developers are doing that. They're doing just that. They're creating these games and they're purposely forcing the stuff down your throat. You know? It's kind of why certain games go in different directions. God of War originally, you know, there was a lot of like crazy sex scenes and stuff like that in those games, they toned it down. They still had some of the sex scenes, but they toned it down. You know, especially in the current God of War series with Atreus, you know, it's still violent, it's still bloody, it's still wild, but, you know, the sex was toned down, you know? So there are certain things that they'll take care of, that they will tone down for the sake of the players, for the sake of, you know, actually making money on the game. We got to get back to that. We got to get back to saying, hey, I want to make a game about this, and then going from there. Let's not start with the characters. I want to make a game based around, you know, this particular type of character. It's kind of silly. You know? As far as like identifying with characters, I never look at a movie, read a book, you know, play a video game, and say, you know, wow, this person is just like me because, and as many of you know, I'm Hispanic. My ancestry is Puerto Rican, Spaniard, right? I don't look at these things and say, hey, you know what? This game needs more Puerto Ricans. They need more Spanish in this game, and it has to be forced. Everybody has to use at least every other word needs to be Spanish for me to identify with this game. No. You know what I identify with? I identify with the moral of the character. The character of the character. The ideals. If somebody's good, you know that they're good. If somebody has the same ideals and morals as you, that you identify with that. You know? An idea never dies. Ideas people identify. Ideas are easy as well because you could change your idea. You know? What they're doing now with like these games, how they're developing these games now, it's abysmal. Look at what's doing good. A lot of games from the East, Stellar Blade, Black Myth Wukong. These games are amazing. They're amazing to play. They're amazing to see. They're visually incredible, musically, graphically. You know, that's what we have to get back to. I don't understand why we're doing this thing where, you know, we're making games character first and then developing the world around the character. Create the idea of what you want the world to be and then put the characters in it. To me, that's great world building. Now, to be fair, Black Myth Wukong is actually a, you know, story that, you know, came out of China and whatnot. So pretty much the world building was already there. But if you look at like Stellar Blade, you know, I mean, Grum's and the whole Free Stellar Blade movement didn't help that. But the whole idea behind Stellar Blade, the world building, the incredible things that you see, the places that you visit, you know, yeah, it's a sexy woman. You could change her clothes. You could play dress up. You do all these great things. But overall, it's a lot of fun. It's incredible. There are a lot of mechanics that, you know, initially they're kind of tough to pick up, but then you get it. And it's cool. The story is amazing. The ending, incredible. No matter which ending you got, it was incredible. That's the kind of game that people want to play. They don't want to play a game where it's a forced agenda. Except on Steam, they have an Alex Jones game. And I got to tell you, that game pushes an agenda. But it's hilarious. It's goofy. So people will play it. You know? I particularly think Alex Jones is brain broken. He's quite the character. I don't agree with a lot of the narratives that he pushes. I think he does things for sensational purposes, obviously to make money. But the game I absolutely loved. I have the game. It's a lot of fun. It's hilarious. As long as you don't get offended easily, you shouldn't have a problem with the game. But it's a funny game, at least to me. But anyway, I digress. Where are we going as far as game goes? And you know what? At this point, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. What do you think is going on with game development today? How do you feel about the direction that games are going? Is there anything that you would change? You know, is it all right to have inclusion in games? I think so. But do we need to force feed you the certain narratives? And that's on both sides of the aisle. Do we need to force feed that? Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'd love to hear from you. Also, what games are you playing? Why are you playing those games? What makes it special to you? And why do you think that that game is so successful, like Black Myth Wukong? Let me know in the comments below. Let's open it up. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a civil discussion. Anyway, that's all there is for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you like and subscribe. It helps this channel out an awful lot. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. And until next time, take care, be good, stay safe, take care of each other. I'll see you all in the next one.